The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Wednesday morning. Jackie, it's day 2. Is it day 2 of your? Yeah, it's day 2-ish of your trip. How was your Wednesday morning again so far?
I'm starting to get tired. No, I'm just joking. I actually feel pretty good. I'm going back to sleep after this, but I feel fine. Like, this is when I normally wake up, so my body's like, wake up! And then I'll be productive for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Same I did yesterday. I was talking to some of my family or whatever, and they're like, why are you awake? And I'm like, I'm watching Gossip Girl. Weird.
A good binge watch never hurt anybody. So as you can see, Jackie and I are ready to get our Feel Good vibes started this morning. So make sure if you haven't already, go ahead and share this episode with your circle. Take a minute to share the link on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and drop the link in your favorite WhatsApp group chat. And to all of our chiefs over there on Twitter, make sure you retweet it. Now, today's Feel Good warm-up is a different kind of Feel Good warm-up for Jackie and I, but I definitely think it's a conversation that we need to have. Before we get into that, though, we just want to remind you that our Feel Good topic of the day is we're going to be discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of food documentaries. So make sure you stick around for that. And if you want to laugh to get your morning started, our Feel Good vibe of the day is joke time with Jackie. Now, Jack, I want you to kind of set the stage for the audience with our Feel Good warm-up before I bring up the fill in the blank question, because I feel like there needs to be some context before I bring it up, because it's not the normal Feel Good warm-up.
Yeah. So yesterday, as some people may know, there was a shooting at Robin Hood, and a few people were actually shot in the incident and rushed to the hospital. I just had to have this conversation with Terri because I'm concerned about what's happening with the island. We usually do like happy feel good topics, but this incident yesterday, I have friends that work in gun violence, and I can see what happens to them and how they have to suffer and deal with it. And honestly, it's just what's happening?
What is happening?
How do we keep getting here? How is how are we using this as a solution every time? And why does it always constantly get swept underneath the rug? Because we get irate, we get emotional, we cry, we have anger, we have conversations, and then it gets swept underneath the rug again and again, and then just becomes a trending topic for a week, 2 weeks, and then it's a back burner issue.
And so I want to bring in our fill in the blank. So we want to know the solution to Bermuda's gun violence is. Let us know in the comments what you think. Did you even know that there was a shooting on the island of Bermuda yesterday? Because we do know that some of our audience are not presently on the island of Bermuda. So this could be like news to you, breaking news for some of you. And just over time, though, this isn't a new problem that Bermuda has faced. So let us know what you think some of the solutions to Bermuda's gun violence is. I know I heard about the incident relatively soon after it happened. I wasn't in the vicinity anymore, but a coworker mentioned that she heard the sounds. And to me, that's like too many, like we talk about, 6 degrees of separation and all that type of stuff, but now it's like almost everything in life is like 1 degree of separation. Like you probably know someone that could have been affected or involved with it. So we do want to get the audience opinion. So go ahead and let us know what you think Bermuda's solution to gun violence is. I see we have Kathy Rogers in with us. So good morning to you, Kathy. What do you think, Jack?
I think everything starts with awareness, right? The more you know, the better you'd act, hopefully. But a lot of our issues are because of, I shouldn't say this because it shouldn't be, it's not just one issue, but like cost of living, and people are struggling, and then it pushes them to go outside of, I don't even, like, here's the hard part, because sometimes you don't even know what the backstory is. So you're making up your own narrative. And I just think we need to become a better community again.
I definitely think there needs to be more feel-good energy on the island. I can say that the island definitely feels heavy even before the pandemic. Like, I don't think the pandemic did us any favors with this concept of, having great energy and being able to be as positive as we can be. So I definitely would say that there definitely needs to be a shift to focus on more good news and sharing what positive things are happening in the neighborhood and on our island, because I feel like oftentimes, like, I don't watch the news segment per se, like the news show, but when I used to watch the news, like 95% of the news was bad news. It was about something bad that happened, something
devastation
that happened around the world. Maybe it's not in your backyard, but something negative that's going on. And it's like, well, there's no good news. There's not one piece of good news that you can share with us.
I mean, I have one piece of good news I can share with you guys.
What's that?
I got to see Jimmy Butler play live tonight.
Wait, who's Jimmy Butler?
Who's Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
I don't know if I just woke Jess up, but she hasn't ran out her yet to be like, what do you mean who's Jimmy Butler? You don't watch the Heat? You don't watch basketball?
I do watch basketball, but
goat in basketball right now. Yeah. I know there's some James fans out there saying, what? But it's amazing.
So you're watching the Heat game tonight. You're watching the Heat game tonight, okay?
Heat versus Nets.
So coming back to the question, so, we know that there was the incident last night. So what other solutions do you think is out there? Like, do you think, I don't know how to frame this without sounding like, woe is me, but like, do you think that it's a reaction to, what's going on in Bermuda? Like, people are just fed up.
A lot of people are going to be fed up. My issue is I don't want to get us to the point that we're desensitized. So it's just, there was another student. Like the accidents, some accidents are just like, oh, it's another accident. And if you drive by, you take a picture. Like, I don't want that to be the case when it comes to gun violence, because that's not our normal. Like, it happens, but it's not our norm in Bermuda. And I don't want it to become that. So like, we need more groups, I guess. We're going to really sit down and find a solution, because what's happening and what they're doing to counteract it just isn't working. Right. Unfortunately. I'm not saying that they're not trying, but we're going to figure out how to fix it or even prevent it from happening more in our communities. Like, it's our communities, and most of the time they look like us. And why are we fighting each other?
Exactly.
Why can't we talk?
I want to bring an audience comment. I see you have a lot to say, Jack, but I want to bring in an audience comment because I feel like it's going to help kind of stir a potential conversation around the solution itself. So Davika Hill says there are so many, but at the heart of it, there needs to be accountability on multiple levels. And I think that's really it, right? Because sometimes with a lot of the gun violence and a lot of the loss of life that is related to gun violence, I have yet to see like such a number of convictions that it kind of deters people, because I feel like when there is a conviction, when you see that someone is being held accountable for their action, you think twice. Now, that's not to say that it will stop you, but you're less likely to kind of make gun violence look like a cool thing to do, because our community is so small. So it's like, I know that guy that went to jail for that thing, and that could be me. So I definitely think accountability is an excellent solution, because if no one's held accountable, then no one, it's a free for all. No one really cares at that point.
Yeah.
And I see we have another comment from Kathy Rogers. She says they have no value for life. And I think
And,
that's a sad thing too. That's a sad
and,
reality.
and when did that become? Like, when did that become a thing? Like, people are so fearless when it comes to death. Like, that is the most permanent thing about life, is death. Like, we don't get to live forever, but once we're dead, that's it. Like, there's no coming back. And how are you okay with walking up into an establishment to shoot somebody and potentially hit innocent bystanders? Like, how disconnected are you?
And I know we talk about mental health a lot, and I do think that, you know, the conversation around mental health needs to continue every single day, because there is an element of mental illness that could come into the conversation that a lot of people, like we say, sweep under the rug, because it's not an easy conversation to talk about your mental wellness, and if you're not having a great day, and what's actually triggering you to not have a great day. And so I definitely think one of these solutions is talking more about our mental health, and if we're not okay today, like what is causing us to not be okay, and why is our reaction, or one of our reactions, to possibly inflict violence on someone else. Like, what is at the root cause of that? Because if we don't know what the root cause of it is, it's just going to keep continuing, and we're going to have a cycle of gun violence like we have currently. And I want to get to this comment by Carmen Mitchell Jones before we take our commercial break, Jack.
There are also many unsolved deaths from gun violence. Yeah,
it's definitely a heavy topic to get us started on this Wednesday morning, but Jackie definitely wanted to talk about it, and we're going to continue it. So definitely feel free in the comments, if you're just joining us, to let us know what you believe some of the solutions are to Bermuda's gun violence issue, because although it's not your normal feel-good warm-up, it's definitely a feel-good warm-up that we want to continue to have. And so if you know anyone that is an advocate in this space, feel free to drop their information in the comments, or reach out to us on social media, so that we can possibly bring them onto the show and have an even more in-depth conversation with them. So with that, Jackie and I are going to take our first commercial break, and we will be right back with our feel-good topic of the day.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, we are getting ready to switch into our feel good topic of the day. We're going to be discussing food documentaries, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we get into that, though, we do want to let you know, if you do want to continue talking about your solutions for gun violence, please go ahead and drop them into the comments. For us, we're going to get into one from Kathy Rogers before we switch gears a bit. Kathy says, positive male figures needed in young boys' lives. Unfortunately, we have many daddyless homes. Speaking of that, next week we have a guest, Darren Woods, who's going to be on, and he has an organization called Hype Kings, which I believe focuses specifically on young Bermudian boys. So it's going to be actually really great to continue this conversation with him. So if you do have some more solutions, if you have some ideas around how we can support our young Bermudian Black men and boys, do make sure you come back to watch Good Day Bermuda next week, Wednesday. We'll definitely confirm the date. I want to say 100% it's Wednesday. It feels like a Wednesday topic for me.
I do believe it is Wednesday.
So switching gears a bit, food documentary. So all this week we have been talking so far about a plant-based lifestyle, plant-based foods. And so today we don't want to leave those that still enjoy a good meat here and there out. We want to talk about food documentaries. We want to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to be sharing with you some of the best food documentaries of all time, according to themanual.com, and we'll drop this link on Twitter for you so that you can read through and see the rest of them. They have 18 that they have kind of collected in list. But Jack and I are going to share our favorites, and we want you to let us know in the comments, fill in the blank. My favorite foodie documentary or show is. Let us know in the comments which one that is. Jackie, you have to go first because the one that you mentioned I had actually never seen before. So,
Okay.
wow, this is
So-
one of yours, I think.
Yeah, it's the one I kept bringing up. So it's called Cowspiracy. It talks about how we keep clearing land to make room for cows, the grass that they eat, so that they can actually feed all the people that eat meat, well, eat cows, whether it's, everything, just all the parts. Because I find out some dishes and you're just like, wow, I didn't know people eat that part of the cow. Gross.
I'm just going to.
Same with pigs. I'm just sitting here like, but it goes in depth to how we that eat meat are affecting and killing the earth, the atmosphere, how the gases that are released from the cow manure and all that stuff is just all around bad. So I just like how it's not just talking about how meat doesn't work well for our bodies and all the other stuff that we were discussing on Monday, with Trevor. And then how it's also bad for our environment and our earth, and how we're actually cutting years off the more trees that we cut, because it's not making as much oxygen and counteracting the carbon dioxide and all that stuff.
And do you remember where you saw that first? Like, was it online or did you back in the day when we had DVDs? Did you watch it?
I want to say I watched it on Netflix like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. It popped up and it was the thing to watch. And I remember watching that, and then I went and was watching, is it Blackfish?
I think so.
It was when all those came out as well, like SeaWorld and all those other documentaries came out. And I was just like, Cowspiracy, what's this? And I clicked it and I was just like, whoa, it's I think 100 or just over 100 minutes.
Okay, so like a regular full length.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. It's so good. I don't want to give everything away because then it's like, what's the point? But I want everybody to go watch it for themselves because it gives numbers. It just goes a deep dive.
I'm interested to watch it. I haven't watched that one yet. I've watched another one similar to that, but I definitely want to watch that one. It looks like our favorite griller, Chef Bubba, says American Barbecue Showdown is his favorite show. So I feel like that is probably like a contestant style show. Mish, let us know, because I actually do enjoy watching foodie competition shows. Like, I don't know if this is like a word thing or not, but I like Master Chef and House Kitchen and shows like that. Like, I really like those type of shows.
Okay, so my second favorite, if we're talking about shows, it's foodie, it's Nailed It.
Nailed It? What's that one?
So they have all these fancy like cakes and cupcakes and dishes and stuff. Well, it's usually cakes. Ooh. It's like a pastry competition, and it's amateur bakers like you or myself goes into the show. There's a competition and you're trying to make the same cake. So you have like an emoji cake with the fondant and you have to roll it out and do all that stuff in a certain amount of time. They have the instructions, the ingredients, everything you need is there, but you have to do it in a certain amount of time, and whoever makes it the best, like it's two rounds to it, will get a good hat or a buzzer or X, Y, and Z, but it's all for $10,000. Well, the buzzer will make
buzzer's like a no song.
No, the buzzer is like a hack, I guess you could say, or a handicap. You can actually use it to get, I can't remember her name, the host to come over and annoy your competitors.
Okay, got you.
Your competition. And I love it. So at the end, she'll be like, nailed it. And you did not nail it. Your cake is falling apart. It's on the floor. One guy actually added he's supposed to add a cup of salt. Sugar, and he added a cup of salt. So the cake looked good. Like, he did a very good job. But when you bit into it, you're just like, it's a salt.
Oh, no. So it looks like we have some fans of that show. Tafika Hill says she loves Nailed It. And Kathy Raj just says that you should say Nailed It.
It's such a good show. I actually watch it with my goddaughter and her mom. That's our show. So whenever I go over, we'll make our cup Marlo that we had in the
Okay,
car.
yeah.
Yeah. So I watch it with her. She has all the different bacon shows. She'll be like, Gordy, because she calls me Gordy. Gordy, I found a new show. Can we watch this? I'm like, I guess. And now I'm watching it and like, what's next?
I love it. If you're just joining us, good morning to you, Rashida Garvin, and those of you that are in the comments, well, that are watching that haven't dropped a comment just yet. Let us know what your favorite food documentary or show is. It looks like American Barbecue Showdown is like a food competition show, and it is on Netflix. So if you're interested in watching that one, it is available on Netflix. I think my guilty pleasure used to be MasterChef. Like I used to watch that religiously, like binge serious that season. And then when they brought like the junior master chefs, like the children in there, I actually stopped watching it for a while because I felt salty. Because these were like, I think the oldest was like 12 at one time. And I was like, they're over here like chefing, like legitimately chefing in the kitchen. And I can barely make a decent pot of rice. Like how, Sway? How?
Have you seen I'm gonna say it's called Cooking High, and it's with Khalees and oh my god, Ryan. He used to be on with
Ryan Seacrest?
Kelly and Ryan. Was that how it went at one point?
Ryan Seacrest?
I think it was, yeah, I think he's in it. I
He used
could
to be the
wrong.
American Idol person.
Yes. I want
Ryan
to say
Seacrest.
it's him, but I know it's Khalees. And basically, there's some chefs and they're cooking with like THC or CBD oil, and the hosts, they give it to the host and they sit at the table and they eat it, and they're all just getting high off of this food. It's just amazing. So they go up and then they level out, and the chefs are like the stuff that they're making. Like we're talking about it, like how they make art. It's brilliant. So you gotta watch that. That I think is still on Netflix. You know how Bermuda is. One day it's on Netflix, and then the next.
Well, no, that's actually Netflix in general.
It's just Netflix.
They do remove shows every month. Like so, every month they will add new shows, and then they'll also remove shows. I can't remember. There's a blog that, and probably a few that will tell you like what's coming to Netflix and what's leaving Netflix. And I would reckon it's because the contracts that they have with some of these creators, they probably have them for a certain period of time, and now that time has expired, and maybe they're not renewing it or whatever the case may be. But they do remove stuff, so it isn't just a Bermuda thing. Like Bermuda doesn't have access to all things, but they do remove stuff.
I believe it is a Netflix special. I could be wrong, but I believe it was collab with Netflix. So
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna definitely check it out. Actually,
it's so fun.
What the
show,
the competition? I'm excited. I think I have seen it because I have seen her face on Netflix, Khalees, and I have, and I just think it's probably on my list. I just probably haven't watched it yet.
I love adding stuff to my list that I'm never gonna watch.
Me too. My list is long.
And I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that there. What is this again?
Me too. Like you get all excited when you see the little banner and it looks, this looks really interesting. The trailer is great, and then you're just like, what is this again? 2 years later.
Yep.
So I want to talk about another documentary that was on the list of best food documentaries, Super Size Me. Audience, let us know, have you ever seen Super Size Me, and what were your thoughts on it? Jack and I were having a mini discussion on this before we started today's show, and this is probably one of the first food documentaries I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like it was, or at least like the first few, it was one of the top, because I remember like hearing about it, a guy eating nothing but McDonald's. I can't remember how long it was for. 2 months, 3 months? It wasn't long. And I was just like, oh, that's not too bad. Like, who wouldn't want to eat McDonald's every day? And I'm just like, he's still eating McDonald's. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, like everything. And I was just like, I couldn't. Like, there's no healthy option that especially back then. I feel like just started to add salads in the past like 5 years.
Because for context, in 2004, so this is when the documentary was released, but obviously they started the filming before then. And just thinking what options we had as far as fast food is concerned, it was literally just burgers, fries, maybe chicken nuggets, and that's about it. But like there was not breakfast foods for breakfast or like a lunch options. It was really limited. So just thinking about how he did that, it's like that was a gross documentary for me, just off of the
Yeah.
idea of eating the fast food every single day. And it looks like we have this comment from Misha Fubler. He says eating fast food daily started hurting his brain.
Yeah. Like I couldn't I remember not being able to finish the documentary because I'm like, this is making me sick. Like there are days where I would be like, I'm only having a cup of tea because I'm probably gonna only have a cup of tea for most of today because I overate yesterday.
Ooh, what did you eat yesterday?
I was naughty, guys.
You had a bunch of dairy.
I had a bunch of everything. I had McGriddle in the morning with the hash brown
McDonald's
and
breakfast.
exactly right. And I had gotten a coffee with caramel and chocolate drizzle, and honestly, at the moment, it sounded brilliant until I got it. And I'm just like, whoa, this is sweet. I didn't get to finish it. I finished everything else. And then lunch, I had like Polynesian food,
Mm,
and that was good. It's like a Chipotle type vibe. So
got you.
that was healthy. But I had lamb, and then dinner I had an infusion experience.
Okay, we will leave it at that. We will leave the infusion experience right there with a pin in it. It looks like Kathy Rogers has seen the documentary as well. She says it was an eye opener for her for sure. And Tashao, being a former guest of this show, says Super Size Me was like a horror movie to my young self. Absolutely. Like I was 15 when that documentary came out. And I just remember thinking McDonald's is the last thing I want to eat. And then I still ate McDonald's. I
We're
didn't eat
sitting
as
here
much.
talking about it, and I'm just like, I can't believe I ate that yesterday. It was wow too. Like I was just like, oh, it's hit the spot. But at the same time, it just made me think about the documentary. I'm like, they didn't have all these options back there.
And he would always, I believe he would always supersize. Like he would always like
Yeah,
get the super sized version, which was that super large drink cup, a extra large thing of fries, it felt like, and I guess a double burger or something like that. So and I think, and it's we haven't watched it in a while, so we could be misquoting some of the things, but I know he would like do the most, it felt like. And it was just like, and then didn't he sue McDonald's after the fact?
yeah.
I love a good American sue lawsuit. It always
They
tickles me.
they can sue for everything out here.
It always tickles me. So another top documentary that we wanted to talk about, this one was actually the one that changed my life forever. What the Health? Let us know in the comments if you have seen What the Health and what your thoughts of that particular documentary were. Have you seen it, Jack?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I'll talk about this one. So, What the Health is, it goes across the multiple meat industries, and it shares like, some of the practices on how they, I guess, farm our meat, for lack of a better word, how they create the meat, what goes into the different meats. And it definitely, this is what stopped me from eating meat. Like, this is the one documentary that made it easy to not eat meat. Like, period. Because some of the brands that they were naming were some of the like the brands that I trusted, like brands that like Tyson and all this other type of stuff.
Is this the same documentary, because I met here, where they're talking about like salmon farming and stuff?
Yep.
Maybe I have watched this. This is the same thing that made me go cold turkey.
Yep.
I didn't know I had watched it. So yeah.
If you're a meat eater and you want to kind of hold on to your fantasy of eating meat, this is not the documentary that you want to watch just yet. Like, if you're ready to be more plant-based and you are ready to kind of see what some of the practices are, then go ahead and watch this one. But it'll definitely change your life. It looks like Kathy Rogers agrees. She says that show would change your life and way of eating for sure. Like, yeah. I was kind of like skeptical, because the only other documentary I'd seen before then, as far in the food industry, was Super Size Me. And that one was kind of like you're dumb for doing that. Like, you did that to yourself kind of thing. Like,
self-inflicted, right?
Yeah. So that one didn't really sway me as much. Like I said, like soon after that, I continued to eat McDonald's. But What the Hell really did it for me, because I just realized how much I don't know of what is in my food. Like, from certain labels, believing that these labels are actually what they say, and finding out, well, actually not really, because lobbyist is a thing and people can pay to have certain logos on their food and stuff like that. So it definitely, this one did it for me. This one changed my life completely. And Jack is obviously has seen it. I want to watch it again, to be
Yes.
honest.
Yeah. I've watched a few things. Of course, people send around little videos and snippets and stuff. I remember somebody sending me something in regards to what pigs eat,
Oh my
and
lord.
it was like they weren't even separating the the foods from the packaging. They were just letting it run through a machine, and it turned into like a mulch, and they were just shoveling it and giving it to the pigs. I'm just like, there's plastic, there's cardboard. Like pigs really eat anything. And then if you watch any like Italian mafia type movie, they feed their victims to the, like, I'm not saying that they do that in real life, but just watching how, you know, the stereotype of how pigs can literally consume anything.
Pigs are hungry little piglets. They're just like, I just want
And
food, food,
then
food.
and then we eat like pig's feet and pig intestines. Like we're eating all the stuff that the pig eats. We were talking about it the other day, like the cows are grass fed, and it's just like the
I would
pigs
hope.
are eating everything, and we're just frying bacon and
Now,
pork
we're not trying
bellies.
to get y'all to stop eating the pork, but we are trying to get y'all to
Yes,
stop eating the pork.
yes, we are. I'm saying it. I will take the punishment for telling you to stop eating pork, and then just looking at like their breakdown,
Actually,
what it
Jack,
looks like.
hold that thought, because I want to bring in this comment from Nicole Walker. She says, "Good morning. When seeing what the health, it opened my eyes to how much control the big food companies have over farmers, etc." That's
Oh
what it
my
is, right?
gosh.
Because you really think that, okay, this is a local farm, or this meat was produced at a farm, so at least they have better practices, or you
Hmm.
would hope they have better practices because they're a small operation. They're not, completely mass producing meats. They're doing enough to support their family. And then you realize that it's such a trickle down effect. Like capitalism has just put its little hand in all of the different
Everything.
things. And it's like, I mean, if they want to survive, they kind of have to keep up with the demand. And Misha, butt bacon. I mean, I think, and one of the things that's interesting too about some of these documentaries, and specifically Cowspiracy, and although this one wasn't on the list, Seaspiracy is a similar
Mhm.
concept to Cowspiracy, and it's just realizing how impactful some of these bad practices are to our environment. Like we talk about things like plastic pollution and cleaning up our beaches, which we absolutely should. But I don't know if anyone's seen Seaspiracy yet, but spoiler alert, plastic that we kind of discard is not even that big of a deal when you look at some of the pollution from the fishing, the commercial fishing, like the nets that they use to, rally all of the fish.
Mhm.
Those are up to, I think, 80% was the percentage. That's more of the pollution in our ocean, like waste from commercial fishing ships. And it's like we have all these campaigns around, like, reduce your single-use plastic. And I think that's still great. I'm not saying we should stop
Right.
those campaigns, but it's really interesting to, when you watch that documentary, another spoiler alert, one of the big companies that is like known for helping to protect the earth has like two lines in their business that conflict with each other. And I was like, you can't trust any of these companies. You can't trust any of them. They're all lying to us. I don't care what anyone says. They're lying to us. It is a conspiracy. It's absolutely conspiracy to keep us eating, overfishing, to kind of say that we are providing jobs for these people and et cetera, like we're feeding the world, when it's like, are we really feeding the world, or are we just creating a space where our world will no longer be? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So definitely watch Seaspiracy, but okay, don't watch Seaspiracy if you still want to be able to eat fish consciously, because I promise you, you cannot after you watch that particular documentary. You haven't seen it yet, right, Jack?
I started to see it. It was giving me It was raising my blood pressure.
It's a very
Because
emotional one.
to start off, it's like you're in another country and you're being monitored. Like your every move is being monitored. So for you to make this documentary, you're basically risking your life. So I do think that everybody should go watch it because of that piece right there. But then you're seeing how they're overfishing, and you're just, as they say in Lion King, life is a cycle. You know, the circle of
Absolutely, yes.
life.
Circle of
And
life.
the more we kill the fish, the more we kill the coral, the more we create storms, the worse the storms get. So it's just like a whole trickle effect of us just creating Armageddon
I
on
actually, and I didn't even appreciate
ourselves.
that. I didn't
Um,
appreciate that at first.
yeah. And so I do think that it's best that you go and you watch it. And then if you can live with yourself eating as much fish as you want, because, you know, it doesn't bother you as much, then power to you. I
And
I I start to
even
feel guilty. I'm like,
don't even bring the whole fish farming as a sustainable alternative, because the documentary definitely debunks that one for you. So I mean, it's I would say, I think food documentaries, although they can like change your life as far as like, you know, make you want to switch and not eat certain
mm,
foods, or eat, you know, focus on eating certain things, it's definitely eye-opening to have this knowledge and to recognize and realize that there are parts in the world where we talk about, like, you know, nations that are not as rich as like industrial nations like the US, the UK, etc., how they're suffering because they're just trying to make a living, and we are just like, yes, give us all the food, give us all the fish, give us all the meat, and we're not realizing that we're perpetrating this like cycle of poverty in other nations.
mhm.
Man, we don't need to, like, some of us don't need to eat as much fish as we eat or as much meat as we eat, but we choose to because it's available to us.
Yeah.
So
But you know, the whole saying too much of anything is bad for us, right? So too much fishing is bad for our environment. Too much meat is bad for our bodies. Like too much of anything will always end up being uh, being counterproductive for our longevity.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so I'm looking at the time, and we're going to take our second commercial break before we wrap up today's episode. Do not go anywhere, because we are going to be coming back with our feel good vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. So if you want to laugh to get your morning started, do make sure you stick around for that.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're watching us on Facebook and you haven't already done so, make sure you give us a reaction. To those of you on YouTube who are watching, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel before the end of this episode. And to all of our tweets over there on Twitter, make sure you run up those hearts. We are going to get ready to start our feel good vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. If this is the first time you're watching us, Jackie is going to say some of her best dad jokes, the corniest you're gonna find on the internet today ever. And I'm gonna try my best to guess the corniest answer I can think of. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But the best part is that we're gonna get a laugh. So make sure you drop your reaction to Jackie's jokes in the comments. Over to you, Jack.
Okay. What did the accountant say when auditing a document?
What did the accountant say when auditing a doc? It didn't add up.
This is taxing.
You know, I didn't really think about it because taxes aren't really that big of a thing in Bermuda like that. But that
True.
is hilarious.
True. What did the two pieces of bread say on their wedding day?
The two pieces. This is
Sorry.
a jam. It's a jam between us. I don't know.
It was loaf at first sight.
Loaf at first sight.
Oh, okay, last one.
I got this. Oh, wait. Before you give me the last one, I love this one. I do. I love that one.
Yeah,
That's actually a great answer.
Why do melons have weddings?
Why do melons have weddings? I don't know.
Because they cantaloupe.
They cantaloupe. Pity pop.
I love our sound effects, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I
But
love that one. They cannot elope. Oh my Lanza. As always, we hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the day has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you for watching this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Suku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for another Feel Good conversation. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.